Hey y'all, I wanted to talk to y'all about something that's affecting a lot of people, especially people born after 2000. Um, it seems to be a TikTok generation of kids that can't really tell the difference between, you know, real life and social media. They're blending the two. I call it social influenza, and it's affecting more people than coronavirus. It's all over the world. People all over thinking that everything is or people think that there's a lot of you know things that you can blame on social media and things like that for why things are going on in the world, and really that's not it. A lot of these problems were here before social media, and the real problem with it is that people are taking their lack of self-control and their lower vibration behavior, and they go into social media platforms and bring that energy with them, and so social media just amplifies everything that goes on, and so that's what you have people everywhere with low vibrations. They don't know what they're doing. We all have a consumer mindset where we're obsessed with just buying things and buying go after all these different brands and making these corporations mega rich, and these corporations are linked up with these politicians, and these politicians help corporations look for tax loopholes, and all of this stuff is linked together. So you know we have to we all have to step outside of ourselves and take a bigger look at the whole picture of life. We got to realize that we're all linked in together. That's why we all live in societies. We're not sponges. We're not, starfish. We're none of that. Like, we all got to stay together and figure out how to build our societies right. When one of us is weak, we're only as strong as our weakest link. We should be making sure that everybody is on their best foot. And right now, that's exposing it. Coronavirus is exposing a lot of things. It's exposing social influenza. A lot of people are, very narcissistic, very into themselves, don't really know how to, be grateful. A lot of people um, don't really appreciate the time that we're in, and we just take everything for granted, and we just, you know, feel like we just deserve to get whatever what we have right now, because we're supposed to be a first world country, or whatever it is, religion, or whatever it is that you think allows you to have what we have right now. But all this can go away real quick. This is nothing. All this that's in front of us, all this is just, it can come and it can go. So we have to be less narcissistic. We have to be less. We have to stop being withdrawn. We have to stop saying things like anti. People are out here being proud to be antisocial. Sticking to themselves. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be looking outside ourselves and looking to our fellow people and helping each other out to build. If you see somebody in pain, even if they're not a family member, we should get to making more communities of people that look out for each other in our communities. There's small communities within these cities, where we all look out for each other and we don't feel like strangers. Because there's definitely a lot of mental health and things like that that are out here, and no one's really looking into it. A lot of people give lip service, but no one's really doing anything about that, and it definitely needs to be looked into. We need to look into mental health. We need to make sure that all our family members are doing well. The brain is complex. I don't know everything about mental health, of course, but I know that I feel like we got to do more than just just deal with just pills and things like that. I feel like we have to really go down and really get to the root cause of what makes people go, lose their minds and get delusional and things like that. We have to find out what these causes are and how we can do something about it. But that's here and there. That's also I feel like a social thing that happens when you live in a city where we're all working all the time. We're under stress. We're not in our natural environment. This is all concrete. This is buildings and living amongst each other, but we don't really know each other. So this can cause some people's minds to slip and they can lose touch with what we see as reality. I also feel that like I said, our reality needs to change. We need to look at each other in a different way instead of being distant and 'cause we were socially distant before. We gotta change the distance. We're here. We're way out more than 6 feet. We gotta start getting close to each other. So change social distancing. Get close to each other. Actually, start looking out for each other. Abolish hate. If y'all don't know, look to the website, Aid to Abolish. And there's a lot of things I agree with on there. So it could be also other ways to get the police to get defunded. This does not mean get rid of the police for me. Some people are radicals with it, but most of us that are out here and protesting and things like that, we just want the police to be downsized. We don't need all these tanks out here. We don't need police with drones and all this crazy, stupid shit, on the citizens. Because you see they're out here running people over. Just in Detroit yesterday, 2 days ago, something. The police ran over a group of people. None of these people were rioting. No one's been rioting for a good minute, probably since the latest would be, I'd say, the last riots were probably like the 10th or 11th or something like that. So it's just absolute bullshit that there's no excuse. There's always gonna be some ass kisser. They call them bootlickers now, and that's they deserve a worse name than that. They're fucking not even worth being stepped on. Bozos who say shit like, "Oh man, you shouldn't have been out there," or, what happened to staying at home, blah blah blah. But you be the type to go out there and cry about a haircut, so go fuck yourself. But I feel like we could just come to understand each other, and that's what I like about this. All the Black Lives Matter, and we got to take it a little further. I feel like it's a good movement, but it's a little passive. I don't agree with everything that's in there. Just like I said, I don't agree with everything that the police with the abolish the police, but they definitely need to be held accountable. There needs to be a system in place that holds them accountable. They need to be accountable to the constituents, which is us. They are public servants. They're not going to trap us and treat civilians like we are a bunch of criminals for standing up for our rights. All the amendments should be protected. The First Amendment should be protected, and if the police can't do that, the president can't do that, these officials can't do that, tear the whole system down. And that's what it has to take to get a country to truly respect what it's supposed to stand for. Then that is what we have to do. We have to get our country on the right track. You get all these it's a bunch of fake conservatives. That's what we have in our country. We have a bunch of fake conservatives. All they care about is the Second Amendment because it makes their dicks get hard. And, every amendment is expendable. They can, send us to Iraq, which is bipartisan, but, conservatives get all crazy about that, they have no problem sending us out to all these wars and building up the military to go to these places. And basically what America does, we're not really producing anything. We're going out there and we're making deals with these countries. The elites are making deals over there to make profits in these nations, and it doesn't really come to us. it's, you know, really going out to these corporations and they're making billions, in oil from the oil and those resources, and the rest of us are dealing with the taxes, and we got to do that, and constantly dealing with the economy crashing like every other 7 years or something like that. 2008, like almost 7 to 10 years, the economy keeps crashing because these people keep inflating our economy and creating a false economy. All these issues are tied together: the economy, health, mental health, race, and this racial structure, and how they use injustice to uh, justify, or they use all kinds of statistics to justify, racial disparities and things like that, and justify a group of people, black people mainly, being targeted unfairly, making it the norm and making this part of our reality. And so we need to take this social distancing and end it. Society has been social distant for too long. We suffered from social influenza for too long. We must all truly get over this social influenza. The biggest one is racism. The biggest one is racism. We've been racist in this country from the beginning, before the beginning. The moment they landed here, racist from the beginning. Indians gave him food, and they gave him they gave him smallpox. We all know the stories of all the fucked up things that we've done as a nation. As George Carlin said, we're like, if we're a box of crayons, you got the white slave owner who doesn't want to be under the white British, so he takes his black African slaves, and he moves across to wipe out the red Indians, and then takes land from the brown Mexicans, and then goes and finally gets to the Pacific, and then bombs the yellow Japanese. If you got a color, if you have a color, we'll wipe it out. Genocidal crayons. But that's what it is. All this is tied together. The military complex, which doesn't really give a shit about the citizens. It's a disguise in fake patriotism, and these, like I said, the fake conservatives, are out here trying to pretend, to care for the citizens. But if you do not care for all the amendments, the First Amendment, you do not care for your citizens. If you do not want to see justice, and if you do not want to see Americans, regardless of race, get justice, and you're okay with seeing police officers put their knees on people's necks for 8 minutes, then you are a fucked up human being, and you should not be in any position of power. And you are not a real conservative or Democrat. But you're definitely not a conservative, unless you're talking about conserving your Jim Crow lifestyle that you want to protect. That needs to come to an end. So yeah, and social influenza. We must all come and understand each other. Whether you're coming in from a white suburban middle class background, you're coming in and you're poor. If you're white and you're southern and you have a bad look, we come together and we understand where we truly come from. Instead of just looking at each other and judging each other, no more social influenza. Put that down. Start realizing reality. Start realizing that we have more in common than what we think. We all bleed the same, as we all say. We eat. Many of us eat the same foods. We all have the same issues. We're all struggling to get by. We're all trying to struggle to get by and figure life out. All right.